Diary of a Sociopathic Mother-in-Law Next Door entry. Today's date is Wednesday, the 11th of June, 2025. The last entry, we finished the story about Tenerife and the infamous poo incident, and in this entry we're going to move on to the Keswick holiday. Before I cover the next period, just a brief clarification or confirmation. Back at Christmas time, the idea was floated that we all go to Keswick, all 7 of us. It was the Husk's idea to take St George to Keswick, booked the static caravan, probably the same one she slept in with stepdad. It was her idea to do that for Christmas because she's got no imagination. He's never been to Keswick, never been to the Lake District, lives in the northeast of England all of his life, 70 years, he's never been to the Lake District. Anyway, she bought him that for Christmas, but she floated the idea to the rest of the family for us all to go. I mean, can you imagine? If you've listened to this story, why on earth would the Beacon and I want to go to Keswick with you? But round about this time Christmas, it was just starting to feel like St George was trying too hard to have a part in this family. Why don't you just play it cool and see what happens, George? But he was obsessed with buying presents or getting some sort of gift for Christmas. Bear in mind, he's only been on the scene 4 months. Nerves are still raw. Roadkill and her husband have only just met him. Why do you have to buy gifts? Buy gifts for my daughter as well, and wanting to take us out for some sort of big family meal. We're not a family. We're completely dysfunctional. Just back off. Just felt like he was trying too hard, and therefore really just meddling. So just important, that extra bit of background. So when the Husk floated the idea of us all going on a family holiday to Keswick, even at this point, the Beacon and I we weren't totally finished with them. We were just in the beginning phase of not being happy with how insensitive the pair of them were to our feelings, and how insensitive he was to just crawling into stepdad's bed and just, helping himself to the home that I built for stepdad. Again, when I say me, I mean us. It's just, this is stories from my point of view, so I will use the word me a lot. So we were just a little bit starting to get a bit niggled. So when the idea was floated for us all to go on holiday, Beacon and I straight away, right, no, I don't want to do that. Just stop trying to replace stepdad, and just stop trying to have this fake family holiday. We never ever go on holiday together. We used to, only on the odd occasion have we all gone, including Roadkill and her husband. It's normally only ever for the Husk's birthday, because the Roadkill and the Beacon would always buy our mother some sort of weekend away for her birthday. She gets all the best treatment, all the special treatment. Everybody rallies around her on her birthday. Nobody goes away for my birthday, or the Beacon's. Anyway, it sounds petty, but stop trying. So this Keswick holiday was around Easter. So what we said at Christmas time, we just said we can't commit, because, and this is true, this is not just making stuff up. We said we can't commit. It's Easter, at school holidays, we might have something we want to do in our camper van, or we might have gardening to do because it's the spring. There's always lots of jobs to be done in the garden at springtime, and we, generally speaking, don't book anything. Really, we only really book 1 or 2 holidays a year. The rest is spontaneous. What's the weather like this weekend? Shall we go away in the camper van? Yes or no? But we do have lots of commitments, in the house, around the garden, and we don't commit to school holidays. You never know what our daughter might want to do or what might come up. We're not dragging her. She's 14 going on 15. Why does she want to go to the Lake District with 2 of the most boring old people in the world? Roadkill and her husband, they've got no interest in a 14-year-old. And we don't want to go, we don't want to take our daughter to Keswick. That wouldn't be our choice of spending the weekend with her. So no, it's a no. Or sorry, it's a we can't commit. And what we said was, we'll just see what happens. Now, that's not a lie. Depending on how things panned out over the next 3 or 4 months, we might go. You never know. I didn't know how things are going to pan out. Could have had a good guess, but didn't know for sure. So anyway, we just said we can't commit. We'll decide nearer the time. And obviously we've got a camper van, so we can just go of our own accord. Yeah, it's Easter weekend, so we might not get on any sites, but obviously that's the way it is. And obviously Roadkill just said yes straight away, no questions. Of course I will, ma'am. I mean, I might sound harsh, but to be a fly on the wall and that foursome on holiday, blimey. The amount of charisma between them, I can't even imagine you know, what they talk about. What Netflix series are you watching at the minute? That sort of stuff. Anyway, so in the build-up to this Keswick holiday, which is at Easter, remember the Tenerife story, our weird behaviour? It just got a bit more weird and a bit more hubris, as the Beacon would call it. But I just call it nasty. She feels safer with her white knight, so she's going to be more and more nasty. And it's just weird stuff. I think I've said Roadkill visits her lair religiously, 5:30, 6 o'clock every Tuesday without fail, unless she's away on holiday, without fail. And given that the Beacon lives just the other side of the garden, Beacon hardly ever sees her, because they don't actually have a personal relationship. She's quite cruel, and the Beacon is just becoming more and more disillusioned. But obviously, to the husk, this means, this is how I see it, my interpretation of what's going on inside her mind. The husk is that what Roadkill is doing, her level of loyalty to her mother, obedience, is normal. And that's the benchmark of what a good daughter should be. Obedience to the mother, forever grateful to the mother. She's got no friends, just her mother. It's not a healthy place to be. In your mid-40s, late 40s, your only friend is your mother, and you're completely obedient to her. But the husk sees this as normal and a benchmark of just what a good daughter looks like. And because the Beacon doesn't match up, that's why she punishes her, because she's not matching up, and she's not being a good, loyal, obedient daughter, especially given that she lives so close. How dare you not come and visit us every day? That sort of mentality, because the husk, her daughters are not free spirits, and to grow as individuals, she doesn't understand the difference between them. She treats them exactly the same and buys them exactly the same things, Christmas and stuff like that. They're not individuals, they are extensions of her. They are there to serve her. She sacrificed herself, she martyred herself to bring those into the world, and they should be forever grateful. So when the Beacon is not living up to standard, she's nasty to her, passive aggressive, stuff that's not picked up by third parties, stuff that's difficult to explain to third parties. And what Roadkill is doing is, by being that obedient daughter, she is the enabler, because it's not normal, the amount of loyalty she's got to her. It's not normal, it's not healthy. And I think I've said some of the things that she does, ridiculous things like 70-mile round trips to let our dog out for a wee when I'm sitting in the house twiddling my thumbs. That is stupidity. That is obedience. Where is the line? Bear in mind, you could easily get your neighbour to do it. We live in a community where everybody knows each other. You can leave your doors unlocked. You could easily just get a neighbour to do it if you don't want me to do it. No, I'll get roadkill to do it. Do 70 miles. So, one thing that stands out in this time period between the Tenerife holiday and the Keswick holiday, I think, yes, I did. Not long after the Tenerife holiday, I did challenge the husk at some point on something, and it led to me saying, and what the hell was that all about? Texting Jill about going to the hospital, and on the eve before and it was, I was scared. You were scared. She was scared. You were scared. Yet you didn't let St. George's son, you didn't ask him to take you to the hospital. You couldn't have been that scared. It's just absolute lies. I said, why did you text the group with both your daughters on and just saying everything's fine? And then you just text Jill. And you just, why do you treat Jill like this? Why? Anyway, there was some sort of confrontation, and that was brought up. So, on this one occasion, the Beacon has gone over to the lair on a Tuesday night, which is the ritual of roadkill. Turns up on a Tuesday, every Tuesday, for a tea. And then the Beacon gets a text, we're finished, which means, you know, we're finished eating now. Now you can come over, obedient number 2. So the Beacon goes over on this occasion, and the husk brings up the subject of a pair of stepladders, and she says, I've got stepladders, because I need to clean my cooker hood, so I'm getting the stepladders out the garage. They are my stepladders, aren't they? That's what she says to the Beacon. And the Beacon's, I don't know, I'll have to speak to my husband, because the garage is, you know, his domain. He knows what's what in the garage. And the husk was like, oh, but they are mine though, aren't they? Because I brought a pair of stepladders, and I've just been in the garage to get them because I need to clean my cooker hood. And the Beacon is put on the spot here because she doesn't know whose stepladders they are, and she feels like she's being challenged, like she's being. It's quite an aggressive approach. Her body language and her tone is quite aggressive. So the Beacon is on the back foot and she doesn't know what to say. But mainly, why are you bringing this up? Why have you been in the garage? You must have opened the garage. The garage is ours, or mine, my domain, it's not hers. She's got no right to be in that garage. Again, crossing boundaries. So the Beacon is like, well, I'll have to check with my husband as to whose they are. So, but again, it's an aggressive challenge. That's how the Beacon described it. Feels like she's been attacked. It's just a weird way to bring it up. Firstly, if you're that desperate to clean your cooker hood, just why don't you ask? I work from home most days. All you need to do is say, hiya, can I borrow the stepladders please? Or why don't you ask whose they are? So the beacon comes home, tells me this story, and she's left the lair, and she said to the husk, right, well, I better check with my husband, because I know what he's like. If he goes in the garage and he uses the sort of the half height step ladders. He uses those step ladders for everything, for loads of things. If he goes in that garage and they're not there, he's going to be not very happy. So I need to go and I need to speak to him. I need to speak to him about it. So she leaves the lair, comes home, and the moment she's left the lair, she gets home. She gets a text from the husk saying, I've put the step ladders up against the garage door. Garage door's properly locked at this point. She doesn't have a key. She's obviously gone in it when it wasn't like key locked. I've put the step ladders back at the garage door. So the beacon goes out and puts them back in the garage. And she didn't tell me straight away. She just, I'm not going to bother telling them about this facade. Step ladders are back where they are. I'll just ignore this. So anyway, obviously she knows they're not hers. She knows they're not hers because she put them back the moment the beacon said she was going to ask me and left the house. She scuttled out and put them straight back. Now what does that tell you? It tells you that she knows they're not hers, but it also tells you that she's not willing to argue with me, but she's willing to argue with Beacon. And that's so it feels like some sort of weird attack on her. It's just she seems to really revel in putting her on the back foot and making her feel like little or just winning. It's always a battle. It always seems like she wants to go up in battle against the Beacon, and she loves nothing more than beating her, even though she never really truly beats her. And another thing the Beacon says was just the look of satisfaction on her face when the Beacon couldn't fight back, couldn't win the argument. The look of satisfaction. So, looking at the behaviour, she's gone into my garage without any right and without my permission. She's stolen my step ladders, because they are my step ladders, they're not hers. She didn't bring them. She's stolen my step ladders and she's put them in her own house, and they were there for a week. So it's just as well I didn't need them, because I would have been hunting high and low and I wouldn't have been happy. And so they've been in our house for a week. But while the Beacon was there, she said, can you recommend any cleaning products? So the Beacon said, well, if you haven't even got any cleaning products, why have you taken the ladders? She's had them for a week, but she hasn't got any cleaning products. So that's not normal, that's not rational behaviour. I need to clean my cooker hood. What's the first thing you do? Well, you do think about how you're going to do it. Step ladders and cleaning products. But if the step ladder's there, you don't need them straight away. Why would you store them in your house for a week? Our house is tiny. It's got a little cupboard which is already full of rubbish. She's on speaking terms with the Beacon. All she needs to do is say to her, can I borrow the step ladders? But no, this is a weird way of doing it. And she's never had the step ladders back. So this desperation to clean her cooker hood, I don't know how she's done it. So the Beacon didn't tell me this straight away, but then eventually it had to come out. Obviously she can't, we don't keep secrets from each other. She just didn't want to tell us there and then. So Beacon tells us this story, and the Beacon's like, are you sure they're not hers? And I say, I'm absolutely sure. I've lived here for 10 years. I use those every single week. I know my own set of step ladders. Plus, they came from the last house. And the reason I remember them is because they've always been like a hand-me-down. I think I've had them forever, since always like my first house. Because they're a hand-me-down, because they're totally wobbly. They're like buckled, and if you're not careful, you can quite easily fall off them. And that's why I know they're mine. Well, they look like mine, but they're also unmistakably mine. And you know, if the husk had getting up on them, fill your boots, see what happens when you fall off and bang your head. So the Beacon is saying, right, well, is there not another set? I said, there's not another set. Did they not bring them? And you know, we've got two sets. I said, no, I wouldn't keep two sets of anything. There was a few things where if they had stuff, and then before, you know, during the move, if they had stuff, I would just take it to the tip. If I had a better version, but nothing came if it was a duplicate, and there's no way. They might have had step ladders, but they went to the tip. It doesn't matter. Things like that are there to share, and that's what the husk was saying at the Beacon. Oh, I thought things were to share. Doesn't matter whose they are. Yes, it does matter, because you make claiming ownership and you've gone in the garage without asking anybody, and now you're just being weird. And you know, we wouldn't just go in your house and help ourselves to some implement in your house. It's obvious, isn't it? So the Beacon tells us the story, and then she's got us hunting high and low in the garage for this duplicate step ladders, and I'm like, Beacon man, I'm telling you, they're not here. There is no duplication here. It's her, man. She's totally messed up. Anyway, never heard anything since. Don't know what's happened to this desperate need to clean the cooker hood. Right. So, it's all a bit weird. So, we're coming up to the Keswick holiday, and they're going away on Friday morning, and it's Thursday morning, and the electricity money is due. The only thing that she pays us is every unit of electricity that she personally uses, she pays for. So we can't afford to pay our electricity bill, especially how wasteful she is. I think I might have said that. She pays more for that tiny little brand new fully efficient lodge than what we pay for a 200-year-old stone built cottage with 3 people. She pays more fuel than what we do, more energy. So anyway, it's Thursday morning, and the electricity money is due. It's £165 for the month that she gives us each month. And then I work out a proper bill at the end of the year, and balance the books at the end of the year. So anyway, this is what she does, and I'm sick of it. She never ever comes and pays the money. She always just sends the Beacon a text. Your money's here. You come and get it. You come and get the money. It's just, am I being petty? It's just, I would be, everything we've done for her, I would be putting it in an envelope and I'd be sticking it through the door, or I'd be knocking on the door. I'd be just going out of my way to pay, show me gratitude. But no, you have to go over there. It's just another way of her controlling, her getting you to have to go over to her house. It's just, that's the dynamic. Everything revolves around her. So, and I'm getting sick of this. I'm getting sick of her freeloading offers like a parasite. And so I send her a text. I say to myself, right, she's got till lunchtime. She's going away tomorrow. She's not gonna, the beacon's at work. She's not going to pay that money. She's just left it on the bench. And then the beacon has to go and get it, even when she's on holiday. We're not going in your house. So I say to myself, I'm sick of this now. She's got till lunchtime. I'm in the garden. She knew I was out and about in the garden. All she needed to do was shout us over and say, oh, here's your money before I go away tomorrow. Thank you again. She can't do it. I'm not going into her house to go and get them the money. It's not how it works. So anyway, it gets past lunchtime and she hasn't paid the money. In her mind she has, because she's texted the beacon and said, come and get your money. So anyway, I text her after lunchtime on a Thursday about 2 o'clock, and I say, can you just pay this month's money by direct transfer today? And for future payments, can you set up a standing order? Please. So I've given her 2 very, very, very clear instructions. Can you pay this month's by direct transfer? And can you set up a standing order for the future? And she didn't respond until I think it was 6 o'clock at night, 4 hours later. So straight away I know she's peed off with us because she doesn't respond straight away. She doesn't need to do it straight away, but you know, she just needs to acknowledge. So she responds and she says, that's all done now. Okay, so that's all done now. So I'm going to take her words as they're written. She's done both of those things. She's paid today's by direct transfer, faster payments, backs. And she set up a standing order for the future. That's what that text says. It's all done. So later that night, I checked the account. She hasn't paid anything. Nothing's in the bank. Friday, check. Nothing. Saturday, check. Nothing. So she hasn't done it. Or she certainly hasn't paid the direct transfer payment, the money that we need, because that's obviously the money that we're paying every month for her heat. So Saturday morning, nothing. So I texted her. I said, you haven't done that. And she said something like, she came back fairly quick. Funny, now she's responding quickly now that she's on the defence. And she came back and she said, I'm sure I have. I'm sure I did it properly. And straight away I'm thinking, she responded straight away. Straight away I'm thinking, what would a normal person do? I've just pointed out that I haven't received the money. A normal person would go into their bank account, check their statement, and then they would come back with one of two responses. The first possibility would be, it hasn't worked. It hasn't come out of my bank account. I'll pay it ASAP. Sorry. Or it would be, it has come out. I can see it on my statement. I'll have to contact my bank and make an inquiry about this, open an inquiry about this. Sorry. So they're the only two options. To me, they're the two sensible options based on what's happened. But she doesn't check. She just goes straight back and says, I'm sure I did it properly. That's because you know you didn't. You don't need to check because you know you didn't do it properly. But there's still no apology. There's no sorry. I'm out of pocket. And there's no apology. There's never an apology, ever. Because she's not sorry. So I know for a fact she hasn't done it. So anyway, so I send back to her. So she says, I'm sure I did it properly. I said, okay, can you send us a and then she checks and she says, let me just remember how this went. And then she says it mustn't have come out because of the bank holiday, because it's Easter bank holiday. Now I asked her to do it on Thursday. She said she had done it. Thursday is not a bank holiday, and faster payments go out instantly, instant transfer. So she's lying. She's lying. She hasn't done it. Instant transfer. So she said, I'm sure I've done it. It must be the bank holiday. I said, okay, then can you send us a screenshot of you doing it? And I'll so I sort of called up a lot. Send us a screenshot of the money of you having done this, and I'll contact my bank and say there's a missing payment. So she's not used to this level of challenge. So she sends us a screenshot. What she's done is she hasn't done a direct transfer for the one payment for the day. She set up a standing order for that payment, and the standing order confirmation says this will come out on Tuesday. And so she knows it would come out on Tuesday. So she was lying when she said it's done. She hasn't done a direct transfer. She set up a standing order, and the standing order has clearly, it's in big red letters, please be aware this won't come out until Tuesday. Because a standing order, you can't set one up for the same day. You can only set one up to happen in 48 hours time. Well, if she set that up on Thursday, it was never going to come out on Thursday. And then a standing order can't come out on bank holidays, so it has to come out on the Tuesday. So it was never, ever, ever going to come out the same day, because a standing order won't. It'll only ever come out at the earliest in 2 days' time. That's why I give her the explicit instructions. So I said to her, you knew it wasn't going to come out, so you've lied to us. And you've purposely set it up like that, knowing that it wouldn't come out, because you've pressed the confirm button, knowing that it wouldn't come out. So you've done it on purpose. I hope that makes sense. You can't set up a standing order by accident, and you can't get the date wrong, because it gives you a summary before you hit the confirm button, and it's got the warning messages on it, and she wouldn't have been able to select the same day. It wouldn't have been an option to select. So she's a total liar. And So I went on, and she said, no, I was sure it was. I never saw it. I never realised. So notice that when all else fails, play dumb. So she's settled on the final excuse that she's just dumb, that she doesn't know what she's doing, that well, why did you ignore me? Why did you ignore me clear instructions? Well, I just thought I could do it that way. What, you thought you knew better than me? See, again, she has to play dumb. I just got it wrong. I'm just dumb. This is another key tool in the narcissist's armoury. Play dumb when all else fails. So I went onto my bank account and I went to set up a standing order just to see what would happen. And sure enough, you go on the little calendar to pick the first date of the first standing order, and today's date and the next date is greyed out. You can't choose today's date or tomorrow's date. So it would have been impossible for her to pick and think she had picked today's date when she set it up. She's just a total liar, and I sent that to her, highlighted it all, and I said, you're lying. She's just a total liar. The simple fact is, she didn't like me insisting that she pay by that money by direct debit or transfer, whatever. She likes to be in control and have the beacon come crawling over for the money. That's the way she likes the dynamic. And she was angry with me, and that's my punishment. You're not getting the money then. You're not getting the money. Not until I say so. And she's purposely delayed it. And then she kept saying to us by text, I can do the money today if you want. I can do the money today, and then you could just give us it back on Tuesday when it comes through. No, I'm not giving you any money back. And then it's just absolutely pathetic. So I hope I've explained that okay. I hope it doesn't sound just too petty, but at the end of the day, she owes us money, and it's a reasonable request. And if she had a problem with it, i.e. she had already getting the money out, she could have quite easily come back and said, please can I just give you this, please can I give you this month's in cash because I've already got it out, and then I'll do it in the future. That's a reasonable request. I would have said yes. But she would have been coming to give me the money. But no, she doesn't want to do that. Plus, I just thought to myself, well, she's going on holiday. So even though she's already got the cash out, it'll save her getting cash out on holiday. So she's not out of pocket or anything. So they come home from Keswick, and I bump into her at the bottom of the garden, and I say to her, because at this point I'm obviously fired up about the direct debits, the standing order thing. So I say to her, did you find your stepladders? And she went, what? Like, she doesn't know what I'm talking about. She's oblivious to everything, man. What do you mean? Well, she's not oblivious. She knows. But she's buying for time because I've put her on the spot, and she needs to get all of her lies into order. All of her lying ducks lined up. What do you mean? Like, that's what she's doing, buying time. Ask you again, did you find your stepladders? What do you mean? So I have to spell it out to her. So I'm not going to repeat the whole thing. I tell her about what the beacon has told us, and I say there, my stepladders. How did you get in the garage? Well, it was unlocked, so I just went in. So that's my garage. I said, and then I questioned her, why did you didn't even have cleaning products? So what was the desperation? I did. Now you're lying. Anyway, it's futile. But I say to her, if you want anything, anything out of the garage where that doesn't belong to you, you ask me, and don't put the beacon on the spot like that. I don't know why you have to treat her the way you do. I don't know what you mean. She's just pathetic. She just goes into limp mode when you challenge her. So anyway, I get that off my chest, and then I say, why did you lie about the standing order? And she just comes up with more lies. She just doubles down on the lies. I didn't know, honestly, I didn't know. I thought it was coming out that day. I didn't know. I said, why didn't you just do the direct transfer? Direct transfers do come out exactly the same day, come out instant, even on bank holidays. Why didn't you do that? That's why I told you to do that. Oh, I just thought, you know what I mean? No, it's funny, you never think when it's appropriate to, but suddenly you think when you're not required to. Everything's backwards. Everything's a lie. So she said, I already had the money out. I didn't want to pay twice. I said, well, why didn't you say that to us? Why didn't you say, I've already got the money out, can I just pay that in cash? She's got no answer for that. She's got no answer for common sense questions. And then there was another lie she said. What was it? It was something about the day, something about the third. I said you had all day to do it. I wasn't. I was on holiday. I said, no, you weren't. You went on holiday on Friday. This was on Thursday when I texted you. You went on holiday on the Friday. And her face was just like, didn't know what to say. She's struggling to find the lies, to cover up the lies. Because I'm challenging her, and everything she's saying is she's clutching at straws, and the lies become even more apparent, where she doesn't even know which day she went on holiday. So that was the end of that, and that really annoyed us, because she's obviously annoyed because I've done that, even though she's got no reason to be, because it's just a reasonable request. She's just not happy because she's not getting her own way, and she doesn't like it when somebody else is assertive, and she can't stand up for what she wants. If she really wanted to keep it that way, she should have said, can I keep it that way, and I'll just come and pay you the money, or whatever. She can't do that. What she has to do is she gets angry, but she can't show anybody her anger, because that would spoil the illusion of the husk. So she does things on the sly, and that's what she's done there. She's purposely set that up so I wouldn't get the money until whatever it is, 4 days later. She's purposely done that. It's impossible for a child could set up a standing order and realise that it's not going to come out on the date that you want it to come out. A child is capable of that. So, and then the lies to cover it up, absolute lies, because she's got her lies ready. And this is when she feels safe to be a bitch. When she feels safe, nobody knows. It's done covertly, but she knows it'll annoy us. She knows that will annoy us, and that's why she's done it. But she has to have a lie of playing dumb excuse to cover her tracks. If she's challenged, but she's not used to getting challenged, so her lies aren't good enough because she hasn't. She's never been challenged. Just like if you never challenge yourself at the gym, then suddenly when you go to the gym, you won't be able to lift anything. That's what a liar is the same. If they're never ever ever challenged, they never learn that their lies have to be a little bit cleverer and a little bit better than that. And I'm the first person to challenge her. She's finally gone to the gym and she's failing miserably. And she's just a liar. I don't know what else to say. I hope this one really comes across as, it's undeniable that she's done this on purpose because she's annoyed and she's going to punish us. And then when I call her out, she's got lies to cover it up.